I stop. Ice what?
Whoa, whoa, baby, poke it out, poke it out, poke it out.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. So glad to have you boys back. Today we're doing the New Orleans Saints versus San Francisco 49ers Week 10 keys to victory. I would like to start this off by saying thank you guys so much for the support recently. It's been absolutely insane. The channel has been growing so much. I really appreciate you guys. We're hitting our stride again this year. About the same time every year. Whenever the Saints really pick up, we get a lot of new people around here, which you guys are all welcome. Go ahead and leave a subscription if you're new. That would mean the world to me. Turn on the notifications if you'd like, comment, all that fancy stuff. And yeah, let's go ahead and get straight into this video, which if you don't know what keys to victory is, if you are one of those new people, this is the keys to victory, but told by you guys. We have a Discord and the Flick app server. You guys are able to tell me what your keys to winning this game are, and I will put them in the video so people can, hear your guys' opinions. Of course, I will be elaborating on them, but really the keys are told by you guys, and I feel like we have a good bunch of keys to winning this game against the 49ers here. So let's go ahead and get into our first one, which is from Wyatt's Right Breast or Saintaholic. He says, key to victory. If our O-line and D-line continue to play like they did in Tampa, we're going back to Tampa for another Super Bowl. Bold. For this game Sunday against the 49ers and the rest of our games, including the playoffs, we need to control the line of scrimmage and completely take over the trenches to the point where Drew could have a picnic in his pocket and the quarterback on the opposite team can't even take a deep breath before he gets wrapped up. This is a good take. Actually, I think it's a pretty great take. The defensive line was a massive reason we did as good as we did against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on Sunday. When does Tom Brady ever lose 38-3? He was literally pushed off of his spot all game, forced to make bad decisions because Trey Hendrickson, Cameron Jordan and company, and he got brought down 3 times. There were 3 sacks, should have been 4. Tom Brady was literally throwing up prayers because he was getting suffocated by our defensive line, which resulted in 3 interceptions. Our offensive line was absolutely phenomenal as well, holding Tampa Bay's league's best front 7 to only 1 sack, which was the Shaq Barrett strip sack fumble, whatever you want to call it, the Shaq Barrett sack that resulted in a turnover. But other than that, Drew Brees looked like he was bored in the pocket. He had literally like 10 seconds every play to decide where he wanted to put that ball, which is why we put 38 points up on the board. If you want to win in the NFL, you have to have 2 things, 2 most important things. You have to have an offensive line and you have to have a defensive line. Of course, the secondary and all of that is extremely important, but those 2 things you really cannot win a Super Bowl without. And I'm sorry, but that's just the way it is. The Battle of the Trenches is extremely important again this week. Just as important against the San Francisco 49ers as it was against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. San Francisco, while being decimated on everything and even on the D-line for their team, still ranks 10th in the league in the defensive line category and has put up 15 sacks. That is absolutely not spectacular, but they have shown the ability to get to quarterbacks and make them uncomfortable. If Brees is not comfortable, this could mean a little bit of danger. He does do a lot better than quarterbacks like Tom Brady under pressure, but he still would obviously prefer to have a clean pocket, and when he does, literally goes into surgical mode and absolutely rips apart any defense he faces. So our offensive line playing good against the San Francisco 49ers is definitely a huge key to victory. Let's move on to number 2, which comes from Landon. He says the Saints need to put together a good game plan using every weapon. The defense needs to force turnovers like they did against the Bucs. Let's get Quan Alexander a win against the 49ers. We need to get revenge from last year as well. Game planning is so important any week, even if the team is as broken and busted as the San Francisco 49ers are. Because they could easily, come out with the league's best game plan that has ever been seen and sweep the absolute piss out of the Saints. You never know. Which is why game planning in a good fashion, even when the team is as decimated as the 49ers are, is extremely important. The New Orleans Saints game plan last week was as close as you can get to perfect. It was obvious that the Saints put a shit ton of time and effort into getting that one right. I don't want to be that guy, but we all seen Jameis Winston on the sideline week 1 with a tablet and a wire in his ear. He was obviously diagnosing certain plays on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense, and was probably sharing some offensive tips to Drew Brees and company as well. It was very clear that he was a big part of us winning week 1 and week 2. I'm not saying that it was, but I think, in my opinion, it was pretty clear that Jameis Winston had a pretty decent-sized hand in helping us get a W against the superpower best team in the NFL, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who got absolutely shat on twice in a row. It was like we already knew what they were going to do before they did it, and we already knew what defense they were running whenever they were running it. As far as game planning goes here, sadly, San Francisco 49ers could be facing that same fate that Buccaneers fans had to face, and that's we traded for Quan Alexander, and we are probably milking every piece of information out of him that we can get. But who knows? We'll just have to see. Game planning is important, and I'm hoping that Sean Payton does not let this one slip through his fingers, and he doesn't go, they're kind of injured to shit. Let's just, not worry about them. Nah, these dudes were Super Bowl runner-ups last year, even with a couple of injuries, even though it's like 10 or 16, whatever it is. They're still pretty dangerous. Let's move on to the next key to victory, which is from Evan. He says, delete their passing game. While the 49ers don't have elite receivers who can ball out, they do have talented receivers who can get the job done if needed. And knowing past events, Marshawn does not fare well against average receivers like he does elite receivers, which is the weirdest thing ever, Evan. But we all know what happened with Allen Lazard. If we can eliminate their passing game, that will force them to run more. And with us having a top 3 run defense, it will be very hard for them to score, leading to an easy W for the New Orleans Saints. I really had to get up and plug in my laptop because I got a 5% notification during the middle of the video. That could have been really bad and frustrating, but it is what it is. I like this take by Evan a lot because of how important it was last week against the Buccaneers. That's really the one reason I absolutely love it. With Raheem Mostert out, the run game is pretty much completely gone for the 49ers, and like Evan said, the Saints have one of the best run defenses in the league, and it's been that way for years. Having to take away the pass is detrimental. Nick Mullins has 1,134 yards, 5 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions with a 94.9 quarterback rating on the year. He isn't fantastic, but he is capable and can pop off if given the opportunity. We need to continue good secondary play to win this game. We're already going to take away the run because that's just what we do, and we have to hope that the New Orleans Saints can do the same thing in the pass game. Eliminating the pass, like Evan said, is extremely important. Let's go ahead and move on to the next key to victory, which is from Joseph. He says, get our playmakers the ball. It's not often of a thing most people say, but sometimes you need to let your playmakers make plays. Michael Thomas also should be back to full snaps or at least close to it, so I think we could take advantage of Richard Sherman being out. Emmanuel Sanders had a good game the other night against Tampa Bay. It looks to be ascending. If we can get our playmakers the ball, we have a good chance at winning this game for sure. This is a big one. While only taking 40 snaps, which is literally like half of the entire game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Michael Thomas was still our leading receiver in only 40 snaps. He had 5 receptions for 51 yards. Last year against the San Francisco 49ers, who did have Richard Sherman in this contest, Michael Thomas had 11 receptions for 134 yards and a touchdown in a heartbreaking New Orleans Saints loss. I agree, man. We got to get our playmakers going. Emmanuel has been great all year. Mike is primed to have a big statement return game part 2. Watch, like I'm telling you, he will. Jared Cook will bounce back. Adam Trautman finally got some action last week. You can't forget about Kamara, Taysom, Deontay Harris, Traquan. All of these players that we have can make a huge... Oh, and Latavius Murray, of course, the bulldozer of our group. All of these players that we have can make huge impacts. They're all playmakers. I agree with what you said. Let our playmakers make plays, especially when Drew Brees hit 11 different receivers last week and 12 different receivers were hit over the entirety of the game. Big thing here. Let our playmakers make plays. I like it. And now the last key to victory we have is from No with a heart, whose username is NosMom. So that's pretty interesting. Here we have key to victory. Please shut down Brandon Ayuk. He is a very fast person and an average receiver. I agree with that. I don't know what the matchups will be, but please don't let him eat our ass. Get the ball to Trautman/Cook and Kamara early and often. They have a good linebacking core, but it has been knocked down a little bit with the Quan Alexander trade. He will be pivotal on our defense, giving us another sideline-to-sideline type of guy. Drew needs to be surgical as always, but especially throwing to our tight ends. Get that two-headed monster of a running game we have started. We need to wear down this defense. I would like to see Drew air it out more because of the secondary, but he should overall take what the defense gives him. Pass rush needs to pressure Nick Mullins like we did Tommy Boy. We have a lot of good things happening if we can pressure him. Final thing, no blown coverages or miscues. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. I don't really have much to elaborate on that. Everything that was said in that statement is true. I like the fact that he said we need to get our tight ends involved. Jared Cook and Adam Trautman looked like that duo last week. If Jared Cook just would have had a game that Jared Cook would usually have where he didn't fumble and he caught that pass on the 5-yard line to pick up the first down, it would have been an amazing game by both of them. But Adam Trautman definitely took some big strides. So seeing our tight end group get going would make me happy. The running game obviously needs to get going. Drew Brees needs to be surgical, and we need to be good on the defensive side of the ball. So there's nothing else I need to say about this one. That's really it for today, guys. Great keys by the people who did submit their keys to victory. I appreciate you guys, and that's really it. Thank you guys so much for watching this episode on the channel, and I'll see you boys in the next one. Adios.
Zero gravity falling. Like I'm jumping on a trampoline.